a positively rabid with rage woman, a completely deflated man, all interacting for my entertainment, just about 20 feet in front of me while I sipped coffee 8 feet above the main street in front of my house on my front porch. Their interactions caused me to ask some questions of myself, and I'm asking them of you today in this episode entitled, What Shaped You? Think about that and answer this question too. What shape are you? If your answer is pear, we'll discuss that a little bit further into the episode. If your answer is something more attractive, we'll give you some pats on the back for that as well. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the internal shape, that thing that we present to the world that was sort of a part of how we were reared from the very beginnings. Once we have answers to those questions, it's going to help us apply ideas about what we might do if that shape isn't something that we like. What we might do to enhance it if it is something that we like. What Shaped You is a fun episode, and I'm also going to talk about the future of Off Topic just a little bit, as well as introduce you to our first segment entitled, Someone Paid for This Sign. Look for that somewhere in the middle of the episode and enjoy it, Earthlings. Here we go. Off Topic starts now. Earthlings, hello, I'm Matthew East, and we are Off Topic, and I am excited this morning because I owe you guys a podcast tomorrow. And what was gonna go out is probably gonna wait 10 days because I got something that I think is gonna be fun to talk about. So I'm just gonna riff today. But before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about some bigger picture stuff. First of all, you guys heard one time already if you've been listening to every episode, but I'm going to hit this a lot so that you guys know what to expect with respect to Off Topic right now. That is episodes 3 times a month. We're going the 7th, the 17th, and the 27th of every month. That's the rhythm I'm going to try that I think I can maintain to give you the quality and the variety, interestingness, humor, all that you deserve, and also keep you hanging on, not go too far in between episodes. We're going to go for that. Why the 7s? No, it's not my lucky number. It's a significant number, not 7, not 17. 27 is why I picked this whole thing. It was my squadron at the Air Force Academy. There's 40 of them, and I was in Squadron 27. We were also the only class to stay in the same squadron, at least in my era. I have no idea what the fuck they're doing now. But stay in the same squadron the entire 4 years of our college experience. So I was in 27. 27's my number.
Guess next year's gonna suck for you. All that creativity goes right in the shitter in 2027. Sucker.
Boy, that's useful to have a number, right? Everybody picks their birth year. I got 27.
You and every uncreative motherfucker on the planet in just 8 months.
But if you need something to go at the end of an email address, if you need something to be a part of a pin, my daughter was number 27 the majority of her youth soccer experience growing up. All because of dad. Fan-freaking-tastic, right? But 27 is the motivation for the whole thing, and we're going to do the 7s, and I hope you guys look forward to and can anticipate that kind of rhythm. That's going to be super fun.
Super fun? I'll go so far as dependable. Other than that, who gives a shit?
The other thing I'm going to talk about before we dive in today is what you guys can look forward to in the next 2 episodes. Really, I guess it's going to be the beginning of May, 7th and 17th. We're going to do I am going to give you a 2-episode special documentary style of my experience last month with the Master Cleanse. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry about it. I'm going to teach you the whole freaking thing starting next week.
Month. He meant month. God, I gotta catch fucking everything.
But they're going to be unique, a little bit different format, more like I said, docu-style. There's a lot of like phone video in the moment clips of the experience.
Prepare to join Matthew up close and personal everywhere from his bathroom scale all the way over to his toilet.
You can look forward to kind of living it with me as you learn about it. And you're going to hear stories, all kinds of crazy things about stomach cramps in the middle of the night, shitting water, losing unhealthy weight. And in spite of all of that, you're going to want to do it at the end. Imagine that. I promise it's going to be fun. I promise it's going to be unique, different thing than what we've done before. And then we're going to go back to normal episodes. And maybe someday there will be no normal. But for right now, we're going to diverge off. I think these are super, not only informative, educational, but they're entertaining as well. So look forward to that coming up May 7th and finishing up on May 17th. For today, however, I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you, and they're all inspired by a story I'm going to tell, something I observed, something that happened, and I was able to partake as an innocent bystander, fly on the wall in a different scenario from right out on the vista out there, my front porch. Let's tell the story first, and then we're going to go into the questions themselves. I was sitting out there enjoying my coffee, just like I'm doing now, except not out there.
No shit, Captain Obvious.
Not too long ago. And it's not always quiet out there, but there are quiet moments, and then the traffic goes by, the surges and stops from the stoplight over there. But it was a quiet moment, and in a quiet moment, I heard what I can only describe as muffled screaming. And I knew what I heard.
From what personal experience, creepy guy?
And it wasn't alarming. It was not terror, but it was like, what the hell is that? And I realized it was coming from inside a car stopped at the stoplight over there on the left. For those of you who have missed previous descriptions, the Vista has some constants and then it's got some variables. Every time you go out, you can expect some consistency, and by you, I mean me, and then some inconsistency, which is why it's a great place to sit. The consistency is the scenery. We got the Veterans Memorial Park over here. We got the dilapidated house, lived in, by the way, populated, inhabited. There's the word. And but it doesn't almost look as though it should be. The truck that is parked outside the front of the house is probably more expensive than the house itself. But that's how I know there are people in there, and that's how I know they're living better outside for the world than they are inside the house. Who knows? The house may be beautiful inside. It's just a little rundown from the outside looking in. You go to the right of the house, though, and you got the auto junkyard. And I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you earthlings. It's not really an auto junkyard. It's actually like the backyard of an auto repair place. So it's where they park the cars, and they move in and out of there. It's a pretty big operation. And then some of them are permanent-ish, and they're probably used for parts, but there's a flow back there, and it makes sense with the business that's there. It's not quite as bad as I make it sound. I tend to be a little, I guess I'm self-deprecating with respect to the locale, which I have chosen to purchase this house and inhabit. But the truth is, I love it here. It's really pretty in a certain way. Pretty blue collar.
Get a dog with a pretty blue collar. Bark sounded something like this.
But I love it, and it's home. Beyond the auto, I'm still going to call it the junkyard. I don't know what else to call it. The auto lot. That sounds like it's for sale, like a shitty little used car place. The auto junkyard is the field that I've spoken about before, that has no function whatsoever, save for the dog walkers. This field is like, I don't know, it's like a magnet for the entire borough that I live in, I think. And everybody's walking on the concrete sidewalks and past people's yards and everything else. But there's this purposeless field. It's got no other use other than the dog walkers always turn in there, and that's where their dogs do their business. And there's got to be more dog shit, or there would be. I had always thought, holy crap, I would never want to walk into that field because of all the dogs that go in and out. Nobody cleans up after their dog. If I was the owner of that field, I would be like, yo, I'd have a patrol or something. I'd hire a guy. Although maybe he doesn't care because the field seems to have no other purpose and there's nobody there other than the weekly lawnmower who's a big fat ass on a rider and his feet aren't touching the ground anyway.
It's not mean if it's true. And oh my God, is it true? As in like, damn, that poor lawnmower. True.
But I'm going to tell a quick segue story, though, about a cool guy named Nick that I watched and judged for a little while because Nick's got 5 fucking dogs. and he walks them one at a time. He's not like that dog walker guy with the multi-leashes getting yanked forward, which is a good thing because his dogs are medium large and pretty robust. I think they're all rescues, and he has brought them back to freaking health, man. They're like these tank dogs, not pit bulls, but they're healthy, you know. Nick walks his dogs one at a time, always turns into that field, watches them take their shits, and turns around and walks out. And I was like, dude, of all the people, you know, you ought to be the one with the bag. Guess what I saw? Different day. By the way, we're not going to just sit here talking about me looking out my front porch, but this is a good story. I feel like this is like old man on porch or something, except it would just be man on porch because I'm not fucking old.
He is.
Compared to some.
Compared to Santa Claus.
Nick shows up, different day, no dog leashes in his hands. Only thing he was carrying is a plastic grocery store bag. And my brother frickin' spent, I think, maybe 45 minutes. I didn't time him. I wasn't out there the whole time picking up dog shit. And you know it wasn't just his. He's the damn saint, man. He's like the cool dog owner who rescues dogs. And then he's even handling other people's business who don't want to handle it themselves. I've spoken to Nick a couple of times. He's a cool dude. He's got a wife and a daughter. They sometimes walk dogs with him. I think it's their freaking hobby. It would be, I can't imagine having the 5 dogs that he has in whatever space they live in. I don't imagine it's a very big space. But God bless you, Nick. If you're watching, keep up the good work. And it's been a pleasure knowing you. And I will look forward to continuing to know you. Enough about the damn normal shit going on outside my house. Let's talk about the abnormal. Muffled screaming, car, stoplight. Ready? Caught up? Here we go. I realize it's coming from in a car. The light turns green. Car starts pulling, moving across in front of, you know, it's like, Jesus, the word is past, moving past my house.
You know what they say, key to a good podcast, exceptional vocabulary.
And the brakes come on and it pulls over just right in front of the auto junkyard. Out of the car comes the screams. Form of a female who is fucking pissed. That's not adequate. It's rage. It's screaming earthlings. It's rage. She turns around. There's a man driving the car, and he has probably auto rolled down the passenger window as she's getting out of the car, probably trying to coax her back in. She uses the opportunity of the open window to berate him with words that I would not speak on this podcast. She then proceeds to stomp around the front of the car and down the sidewalk. Mission top secret, destination unknown. I'm quite sure to her as well. But she's stomping. Well, as she moves off, my eyes are drawn back to the vehicle. And this dude, big old guy in the car, just, you can see it, the body language. It's like this humongous sigh. The shoulders go up. And they come down, and the brake lights come off, and he pulls out, and he drives past his girl a little bit further beyond, pulls up again, giving her an opportunity to return to the car. She takes that opportunity to move around to the passenger side, where she berates him again with verbiage and language that a sailor would be embarrassed to hear, much less speak. Furious rage, the shrillness of the screaming. I hope I'm explaining this. She is unhinged. She's unhinged. Back around the car, back to the sidewalk, off to the undetermined destination. And the car sits there for a few minutes. Not a few minutes, probably 30 seconds. Pulls back out, moves past her again, pulls to a stop. And this time you can see the passenger door open. I think dude has reached across to open the door as the woman is approaching the vehicle from behind on the sidewalk. By the way, this guy, husband, boyfriend, definitely not a brother. There is no relative on the planet that would put up with the bullshit that's going on here. So he's the significant other. But she comes back around the car again, gets in the car, and I'm going to give you my audio impression of what that was like. And that's the entire thing. From getting in, the door closes, the window's up. You don't stop hearing it, and then the car drives away. And then eventually the sound of the vehicle drowns out the screaming. But we're now hundreds of feet that way. I cannot, the environment inside there, inside that vehicle, indescribable. And there's my story. It's a thinker because this dude didn't freaking like oversleep and make her late. He didn't fuck up breakfast. He didn't burn the eggs. I don't even know that she was pissed at him or if she was pissed to him. But God bless him. I'm going to say a quick prayer for that guy. Lord Jesus, please help that guy.
Yeah, that ought to do it. Nice work.
It's difficult to imagine the inside of somebody because she wasn't angry at her circumstances. She was just effing angry, furious, rage. And it got me thinking, the shape of a person and how we get there. What shape? What is your shape? If you said pear, I apologize for bringing the subject up, and I know a good personal trainer. Actually, I don't know a good personal trainer, but we can help. That's always fixable. Apologize. If you said banana, first of all, I hope you're a dude, and second of all, that's not what I'm talking about. Why do we attribute body shapes to fruit? I don't know. I digress. What shape are you not outside? How you appear outside is the first thing that the world sees, but what you really give to the world is due to the shape that you are on the inside. And the question, not just what shape are you, more of a segue to the real question, but here it is, what shaped you? Think about that for a minute.
While you're thinking about that, think about this. Is he ever going to do that segment thing he talked about in the intro?
This segment is called Signs People Paid For. Without further ado, here's one. This has been Signs People Paid For.
Well, I guess that answers that question.
Think about that for a minute and listen to this metaphor because it's going to describe what I'm getting at. I'm not talking about what's going on around you now that's impacting your mood. I'm talking about what created the who you are, the what you are, the shape that you are.
Sounds like somebody needs a little Bird's Bees refresher.
The metaphor is a pot or a vase. Let's see. Dudes will be the pots. Ladies, you can be the vases. I'm not going to get any more complicated than that. Multi-use pottery. Disregard.
Disregard? Hell, this is good shit. Flowers go in vases. Flowers go in pots. Hell, guess we actually got more flower pots than flower vases. They're just dirtier.
The point is that you were once a lump of clay. And something provided the role or played the role of the potter's hands on your lump of clay that shaped you into who you are as a permanent shape. And whatever that source is made you something. And less important is the source, but it helps you understand what you are shaped like. But once you're shaped, you could be, and colored. I'll talk about color here in just a minute. You are what you are. You could be on a windowsill in the sunlight, beautifying a space. Or you could be in a box in the attic, right? So I'm not talking about your environment. I'm talking about your shape. That's the idea. What is it that defines who you are in a very concrete sense? I was talking to a friend of mine and asked her that question, what shaped you? She gave me a very thoughtful answer about herself, but then she pontificated a bit, which I think is cool when you have time, because cool people have cool thoughts. Not all of them come from me, but
thin vocabulary, but God, thick humility.
But what she basically said is there is a point in your life when whatever is shaping you stops having that authority, and then you take over with your appearance, and you begin to shape yourself. Now, I'm going to take the metaphor a little different. I think that shaping is so critical that we can literally ascribe it only to what shaped you. And then her element of like what you continue to do would be like maybe the color, the textures that get added to your shape after that shaping occurs. But you've got both of those things that create ultimately the product that you present to the world. And understanding that's a big deal. What causes a woman, grown, by the way, not 2.5,
and demon-possessed,
which is what that appeared to be like, to present rage, not circumstantial rage, but internal rage to the world, versus somebody like myself sitting on the Vista out there observing this thing with my coffee, right? Enjoying the show, so to speak, who is generally and mostly content. Not because my life is fucking perfect, because it is far from it. There are things happening to me right this minute that I wish were different. And not just one, here and there. But to be able to appreciate the positives versus the negatives. I'm not patting myself on the back here. Well, yeah, I am. But I'm doing it for contrast. I'm not doing it for praise. I'm doing it for contrast. What creates that spectrum? Why is one shape so different than another? And how can we use that to sort of make ourselves better? My story, if I was to answer the question, I can give you a basic answer. I was loved. I was treated, with respect and given self-confidence. I was given a faith. I was taught a faith that to adopt. And it was done from a space of very, very good intentions, which, by the way, parents, you're allowed to fuck up. The only thing that you require as a parent is good intentions.
Know some kids who might beg to differ.
If you mean well, you're probably going to do well most of the time. Be a message to my parents as well. I feel like they know they did a good job, but I also did a lot to color myself after their shaping. Some of those colors they would not choose for me, but that is the evolution of the pot as it proceeds towards the kiln, where it is fired and then made permanent forevermore, which, by the way, is where the metaphor ends. Because if you really think about it, the kiln would be death. We're coloring ourselves. We're becoming who we are constantly until the very end of life as we know it here. So that's where that metaphor would end. But my point is, we then color ourselves in a way that allows the world to see whatever it was that we started with in the best, hopefully the best way that we can then present it. So you could have shitty potter's hands creating your initial shape. You might be all fucked up. There's some fucked up shit that looks beautiful in the end when you add the color. Holy crap, I just got this picture. I'm going to actually show it here on the screen. It is the Jimi Hendrix Experience Museum in Seattle, Washington. That's a building. And it's so great. But it's abstract, and if there was no color on it, if it was just brown, you'd be like, that looks like a pile of shit. Well, maybe that's how you felt coming out of your shaping. But look at the color. Look at what you get to add, and that's where I'm going to go with this what shaped you thing here in just a second. But anyway, I was given all that stuff, and then I proceeded out because my parents were pretty strict. They were pretty conservative, still are. And then I went into my phase that I will call rebellion. I don't think anybody knew I was rebelling because I was independent. I was on my own. But in my own place, I was going against the grains of maybe what I'd been taught, where I had to learn some lessons, figure some stuff out, and then find my middle. Go back to There Is a Middle, the pilot episode of Off Topic. One of the things I'll always refer back to. But I figured all that stuff out, and then I was something, right? And now I am still something. And that is what I present based on where I began. But we all have a shape to start with. We can all do with that shape what we want. But in the context of all of that stuff, I want to ask you guys a question. I'm not asking you a question. I'm asking you to ask yourselves a question. You kind of know looking in the mirror, even though I'm talking about the internal, you're looking into your own eyes. You know the shape. You know if you feel like it's beautiful or strong or fragile or fucked up, Jimi Hendrix Experience.
Public service announcement. The actual name of this building was called the Experience Music Project when Paul Allen built it, or paid for it anyway. I don't think Paul Allen could build it. But it changed to MOPOP, the Museum of Pop Culture in Seattle. The Jimi Hendrix Experience is actually the name of his band. I feel so alone in being right.
Pre-color pile of shit. Unmolded lump. Maybe your shape is neglected lump. End of the day, it can all be turned into something. But if you think about what shaped you from the get-go, maybe you can put some reason behind it. Maybe you can put some, maybe there's some understanding there that will help you figure out, well, what colors do I need to add? What textures do I need to add to become something beautiful? And that's what I'm asking myself today, and that's what this whole episode is about. But when I started this, I don't even think I had a conclusion, but I do. Surprise! The conclusion is this. Once you determine what shaped you, truly, you do with it what you want, but more importantly than that even, what are you letting shape you? At the beginning, you don't have a choice, and that stuff's pretty concrete. The other thing that happens along the way is you get input from the outside. And it's like instead of fingers molding and growing and shaping, I would call these inputs like wispy smoke that either bounces off you or you give the authority to shape you. You give it tangibility. And if you are allowing yourselves to be shaped by things coming from the outside, be careful about that. You better be validating those things instead of just taking them for what they are. We're peppered with information nowadays, Earthlings. It's coming at us all the time. We're told what to think about things. We're even judged to be cool or not cool, hip or not hip, sensitive or insensitive, all kinds of things by people who do not have the authority to do that to you. But you take that and you make it a part of who you are. Now those wispy, smoky things are turning you into something that maybe you were never destined to be. Find the concrete stuff. Find the why behind who you truly are. And then color yourself. God, freaking color yourself. Don't let other people tell you what to think about anything, whether it be religion or politics or social issues.
Or the Dallas Cowboys, who everybody knows suck.
There's so much smoke. It gets hard to see. Oh my God, I love metaphors.
Perhaps a little too much.
But if you can answer those questions, I would argue that if you can say to yourself that what has defined and is defining your shape is the concrete, is the tangible stuff, the actual experiences of your life versus what you're told maybe you should expect to experience, or even what you're told you're experiencing. People are being told nowadays what our country is like that doesn't even equate to what their physical experience is, but they're buying into it because it's trendy. And then they're taking those attitudes and mentalities into situations that they don't belong. So if you can determine what your shape is, what shaped you truly, and what your actual shape is, and if you can determine that those things are concrete versus that they are the wispy, smoky things, then I think you're doing pretty well. If you can't, if you don't know that what you have inside you that defines you, that makes you the vase or the pot,
or the vase pot
that you are, whether it be pear-shaped, nope. See, I said it's not banana-shaped. Whether it be, beautiful or ugly, anything can become beautiful with the right colors and textures and additives and accents. So figure that stuff out for yourself. And then also a point that I just had written down, I just looked at is if you had shitty parents or just a shitty upbringing in general, grew up in a shitty place, it's okay to admit that, but don't play the blame game. Okay, you have the ability to shape who you are beyond, or to present who you are beyond that initial shape. And you have the ability to be beautiful to the world and to be a positive thing. If you're always saying, well, I came from this and I had to go through that, and that's why I'm angry. How about I came from this and I had to go through that, and that's why I'm tenacious? Come up with those things. Figure out why you're shaped the way you're shaped. Figure out how to color yourself, and then take that forward. That's the message, people of Earth. And I hope this made sense. It's a riff. It's a one-time take, but it's an attitude that I think we could all benefit from, and I hope you've benefited from the thought process. If not, benefit from it tomorrow. Listen to it again. And if you've got thoughts on this, go ahead and let me know, okay? We've got a phone number for Off Topic and Odd Man In, and email addresses. But Off Topic is eastofftopic@gmail.com, and the number for both is 864-432-3379. Share your thoughts. Let me have them, and I'll comment on them. I'll bring you into the show, and maybe even as a guest. You never know how this thing is going to evolve, but I appreciate you guys listening. Enjoy the rest of your April, and we will see you with the Master Cleanse 2-part documentary in May. Peace out. All right, Earthlings, thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking with me. And if you made it this far, why not take it a step further and give me a quick subscribe? I'm going to show you energy, diversity. We're going to make you smile and laugh and think in this rebirth of Off Topic. We're finding our groove here in 2026, and we're going to get you 3 episodes a month on the 7th. So look for us on the 7th, 17th, and 27th. Also, check out the email address and phone number on your screen if you'd like to participate. Take a screenshot, write it down, replay it, whatever you got to do. But reach out. I'd love to hear from you. This is Matthew East signing off, and we'll see you next time.